Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So we just saw this last week, a whole bunch of news come out about the Toyota Tundra and a third recall. And I'll admit I was a little bit nervous when I first saw it, but after I read the report as a current Tundra owner, I was relieved. And let me show you why. Okay, so up until this point, Toyota's had a couple different recalls, all of them hinging around machining debris left in the engine during the manufacturing process, quality control issues. We all know about that. I think what they highlight here, though, is really important. I had heard that Toyota had updated some bearing materials in this V35A engine, and this recall report that we're looking at from this last week identifies that and confirms that, and it gives a particular date range that I think would be a really safe cutoff point to know if you have an improved bearing assembly in your engine or if you don't. And in my case, I do, and I can tell that because of the dates that are listed here and also because of the build date of my engine that we can look at. And I'll show you where to find the build date on your engine, link it to a video I did on where to find that, and you can confirm whether or not you have one of these updated engines or if you don't. And I think it makes a big difference if you do or you don't. Let's go talk about why. This new main bearing, they said in the date here, the range that they're recalling up through 2024 is up until August 5th of 2024 is the build date, the last build date of the recall that is included on these Tundras. And so if you think about that, I would say they said around in May there was an update to the bearing material, and they put a more robust #1 main bearing in the V35A engine to address it burning up with this debris combination, or whatever you want to say, whether it's an engineering thing or whatnot. No matter what it is, they upgraded the bearing, and I think they put a stronger material in there to help it survive more than the previous version was. If you look at the part numbers, you can identify the engine assembly number did change at a particular point. And I show that on my safety recall report when my engine was replaced. I show my engine assembly number, and it's different than the previous assembly numbers that were originally being put into these vehicles. So there was a change in part numbers, and it lines up with this bearing being upgraded, right? And so when we look at that, I think it's pretty safe to say around May is when that assembly number changed. But because recalls were being done, and I think I showed about 3 to 4 months engines being built before they were installed. So there's some delays there and supply chain lag, right, in terms of from the production date. If you got an engine replaced in your truck, it wasn't just built the week before and put in your truck. It was built about 3 to 4 months before it was actually installed in your truck. And so when you look at that, the numbers, I think it's safe to say, if you have a truck that's built after August, like September, October, November build date, it's very likely that you have the updated engine with the updated bearings in there, which is going to be a huge help to you in the longevity of your engine. So in my case, I think I showed in the previous video, my engine was built in December of 2024, so well after the changeover. So I'm pretty sure, and I'm safe to assume that my engine has the upgraded bearings, which as an owner driving the truck, it makes me feel a whole lot better knowing that I have these beefed up, improved bearings. At least the #1 main bearing, that is the main problem with this, the first one to typically go, it's updated in my truck. And so I think that makes a big difference in terms of how the engine is going to handle the stresses, the load, um, the different factors that are affecting the health of this engine. So I just took my truck right before this recall came out. I had planned to take a road trip over the holiday weekend, and I just took that trip, and it was about a 600-700 mile road trip, including towing my boat up in the mountains. And I ran the truck, it ran fine. I had the whole family in the truck, loaded up the full bed, everything, the way I would on a typical trip, and drove the truck, no problems, no issues. Everything was just fine. Came back home and really enjoyed the trip, and the truck handled it well. And I was kind of watching, kind of holding my breath a little bit, like, well, is there going to be any issues with this? But nothing, right? And so things worked out, and uh, my fears of breaking down the side of the road not substantiated. So I was able to tow the boat up into the mountains, up to the lakes, drive on the highway up and back to my house over those 700 miles without any issue. Truck ran perfectly. Used cruise control, used non-cruise control. Everything was fine. Truck ran well. One of the other things just to mention is, like, I passed a lot of Tundras on the highway. I also passed a lot of Denali GMC Sierras and Yukons and Suburbans. And you know what? All of the news about these engines blowing up everywhere, left and right, and they're garbage, and everyone's saying, "Oh my goodness, it's terrible." I didn't see one single one of those vehicles broken down on the side of the road. I didn't see any behind a tow truck. So yes, they are having issues. There are issues we need to be aware of as an owner, but I think it gets blown out of proportion, and everyone's just going crazy about nitpicking and sharing all of the bad news. But I drove 700 miles passing tens and twenties of these vehicles and didn't see any one of them on the side of the road broken down or puffing smoke behind it as it was imploding. So I think you need to really gauge how you're reading and interpreting a lot of the news that comes out when it's shared about these vehicles. But I just wanted to highlight that it's not all bad. It's not all good either. But let's have a balanced approach as we assess what's going on with these trucks. Just a note in towing the boat with 30 weight oil in it. So I currently have the Mobil 1 Extended Performance 5W30 in it. It's just about to hit 3,000 miles, just under there, that I've been running the oil in it. And towing the boat, towing uphill in the mountains, towing it downhill with downshifting and higher RPMs as the truck is using the engine to slow itself down, uh, it sounded much better than it did when I ran the same run a year ago with the 0W20 oil. I remember driving the truck with the 0W20 oil up the mountain, and I remember turning the radio off because I heard this like metallic scraping, grinding noise, almost like a turbo winding up, but having a little metal to metal contact swirl noise. And I remember turning the radio off, listening, like, what is that noise? That's not normal. I shouldn't hear that. Well, I did it again this year, same route, and no noise like that with the 30 weight oil. So I think it kind of confirms what we've been talking about with the high temperature, high shear, keeping that film, protecting bearings and metal components. That extra stickiness, the extra thickness, is keeping oil where it's supposed to be in these bearings and on these crankshaft and rods and the metal assemblies that are rotating in the engine, keeping them protected, keeping that film on there because the film strength is a little bit more robust. So I wanted to share that too. That's just my own observation, driving the truck the same way, same boat behind it, same everything, two different oils, comparing those two. There is a difference that I'm noticing, and I think we'll see that too when I do an oil analysis on this current oil that I just towed with. Let's see what the readings are as we kind of go through that. I'll do a sample on that, and we can look at that report and see what's going on. So what I want to do is I think I want to talk about the news of this recall, what it means to me as an owner. So as I have been tailoring my maintenance strategy to try to keep this truck healthy and keep it for a long time, it really helps me knowing that I have this updated, confirmed now updated main bearing material in at least the number one bearing. And in coordination with the other things that I'm doing, like running 5W30 oil, 30 weight oil in there to increase that high temperature, high shear rating and increase the margin for wear and degradation of the oil during a run, I think that helps tremendously. My short oil change intervals, I'm keeping the oil to about 3,000 miles, maybe 5,000 miles if I was on a road trip that was just extended highway. But I'm coming up on 3,000 miles, I'm going to change the oil. So keep the oil change short. If you're outside of warranty or you're not concerned about your warranty coverage, I am personally using a 5W30 oil. to give it a little bit more robustness in the oil over the 0W20, which can shear out and not necessarily have the higher ratings of those high temperature, high shear ratings. The other things I'm doing is I killed the auto start stop. I never use that. I don't like it at all. I keep it off, and it doesn't affect the engine stopping, cutting the engine off, cutting the oil flow off at a stop, and then immediately taking your foot off the brake, hitting the gas as soon as the engine starts, and you're rotating that shaft and putting load on the engine without full film protection on your bearings when the auto start stop kicks off and on like that. So I don't use that. I don't like it at all. And the other thing I did was how I broke the engine in. I got the engine from the dealership when they just replaced it, and I broke it in a very particular way. So I changed the oil at like 250 miles in, several oil changes before it hit 2,000 miles. I think it's recommended you need to do your break-in oil changes to just get that oil out. If there's any contaminants in the oil, metal, maybe machining debris getting caught up in the filter, get that out, replace your filter, replace your oil, and keep that oil clean and give it a good start to its early life before you start putting lots of miles on it, working it hard, towing with it. Change that oil and treat it nice in the very beginning to break it in correctly and get that thing going. And then the last thing is, I think I had done a video earlier about the driving modes. And so when I tow, I always put it in tow mode, right? When I'm driving normally, I had initially thought that eco mode would be better, but I didn't like the shifting. I had heard things about the load and the stress on the engine, lugging in eco mode, especially when it was cold. And so I've just been driving it in normal mode. I think normal is good. Even sport mode in the beginning to kind of get rid of some of that lag, and then I shift it to normal, so I'm not running higher RPMs on the highway. But typically I'm running it in normal mode, and it's been working for me just fine. So all of those things combined, in addition to knowing that I now have this confirmed #1 improved bearing, my confidence is building in this truck and the engine and its ability to survive, especially that I'm taking care of it in a very particular way to try to extend the life and keep it healthy. So I wanted to share that with you, my thoughts as a current Tundra owner, someone who's not going to trade it in every year and buy a new Tundra and all these different things. I just keep it stock. I want to keep it driving for a long time. I want to own it for a while. And I think right now, so far, my strategy is working out well. So if you're interested to follow along and monitor the health of my truck, see how it's holding up the way I'm maintaining it, running these different oils in it that are more in line with the international manuals instead of the US only manual, subscribe and follow the channel. Post a comment down below if you have any thoughts, anything else you might want to do and add to this strategy. Share your inputs, share your strategy, what's working for you. How do we keep these trucks on the road and healthy? But yeah, so hope that helps, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.